the other paths are safe. I've walked here all my life. I'm not going to stay inside just because Miss Taylor is married.
Is she settled at Randalls? Oh, you must miss her very much, Miss Woodhouse. Are we always to expect you without her company on your future visits? Alone, that is?
Oh, I hope not. I mean, naturally we will not be so much together, out and about as we used to be, but then we were always inseparable, and it is natural that things will be different.
To be sure. I'm sure you'll find another companion.
Who is that young woman? Wait!
That is Harriet Smith, one of our most popular boarders. Harriet has been with us since she was a very pretty young girl. She will remain here to help with the little ones. She has been to stay at her friends, the Martins, for the holidays.
I will miss you. She likes them so much she cannot say goodbye.
What a pretty girl. Where does she come from? Who are her family?
Oh, she's the natural daughter of... Well, we don't really know who. But they're very generous. She has wanted for no comfort all these years. And everything is extremely regular and paid up front.
She's obviously the daughter of someone very refined.
Oh, I've missed you all so much.
Nobility, probably, since money is no object. Do come for supper at Hartfield next Tuesday, Mrs. Goddard. And bring Harriet Smith. If you would be so kind.
Mrs. Goddard gives her very much love. It's been very civil. Yes, she did. Well, she's very excited. She has a visitor this evening. Mrs. Goddard has come.
Just for a moment there, I imagined that nothing had changed. Miss Taylor in her usual place, and nothing unpleasant occurred. Yes.
Mrs. Weston, Father. And we have a delightful new addition to our party.
Excuse me, Miss Woodhouse. I have been delayed in the village on the errand of one whose business I hold only just in higher regard than yours.
On whose business?
The Almighty's.
God's. Oh, of course. God's business. Just a little more regard than Miss Woodhouse. Yes, I see. How very civil.
You are most welcome, Mr. Elton, as always. I think I only have one introduction to make. My special friend, Miss Harriet Smith.
Well, Miss Woodhouse's special friend can be one no less to me.
Harriet will be joining me this week when I go to visit the poor.
Bravo.
I've had a cold.
You do seem to...
Yes, she's very kind.
Looked like she's much improved.
Much improved. Thank you so much, Mrs. This is extremely fun.
I don't know what you think of this new intimacy between Emma and Harriet Smith, but I think it could be a bad thing.
Oh, do you really? How very differently we feel. Are we going to have one of our quarrels about Emma, Mr. Knightley?
Well, perhaps you think I came down here on purpose to quarrel with you, knowing Mr. Weston to be out, and
Well,
you must argue your own case.
Mr. Weston would certainly support me if he were here. You live alone, Mr. Knightley. And I do not think it possible for a man to appreciate how much a Woman needs the companionship of another woman. And though I am but half a mile away, I know that in all modesty, Emma will miss my company dreadfully. It was the one drawback to my accepting my husband's proposal.
How we are all drawn to Hartfield like magnets and cannot leave. I have heard Emma say a dozen times she will never marry. If you find it difficult to leave her, imagine how she will ever leave her father.
Well, we will see. I'm sure that obstacle can be surmounted in the event of a happy liaison, but not just yet. Did she not look well last night? Have you ever seen such loveliness, such good health and bloom?
I have never had any fault to find in Emma's person. She has always been the cleverest and the prettiest of the family. Emma has always been of special regard. I love to look at her, and she's not vain about her looks. No. Her vanity lies in another direction, and you have cleverly put me off its discussion. I am not to be talked out of my dislike of her intimacy with Harriet Smith, and my fear it will do them both harm. It will play to Emma's vanity.
And I see no harm at all. Harriet will benefit from Emma's superior position. Of course, she is not the ideal companion for her, but then who is her equal in Highbury? And Harriet can, in return, she... Well, they can read together. You're always telling Emma she should read more.
Emma has been meaning to read more since she was 10 years old. She makes a good list, I'll concede, but I don't see how Harriet Smith could get her to read any of the books on it any more than you could.
Don't worry, Harriet. You are doing well indeed for a beginner.
Good morning, Miss Smith.
Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Hope I find you well.
Very well indeed, thank you. I do hope that your mother and sisters are in good health.
Very good health, thank you.
I wonder, did you manage to find the book I recommended? The Romance of the Forest?
No, I'm afraid I didn't, but I've asked my sisters to look out for it, and well, I'll read it as soon as I can manage. Good day.
Harriet, who was that young man?
Oh, that was my Mr. Martin. You know, my friend that I spent such a happy summer with.
But I thought the Martins were a middle-aged couple with 2 daughters.
Oh, no. Well, there is no older Mr. Martin. Young Mr. Martin runs the farm. And I'm surprised you do not know him.
Ladies?
He often visits Mr. Knightley, and I'm sure he knows you. 3 apples, please.
It would be that way around. He would know me, but I am not sure why I would know a farmer.
Thank you.
Harriet, is there any reason why you would call that young man your Mr. Martin?
I meant my friend, Mr. Martin. Tell me, what do you think of him? Is he so very plain, do you think?
He is remarkably plain. I suppose one would not expect very much of a farmer, but I had no notion he would be so very clownish.
To be sure, he's not so genteel as a real gentleman.
Oh, I mean no offence, I'm sure. A farmer has no need to be genteel. But I would have thought that now you have been exposed to some very good specimens of well-bred, well-educated men at Hartfield, you would be struck by how unfavourable a companion your Robert Martin presents.
Miss Woodhouse, another letter from Jane. Won't you and Miss Smith step inside for tea while I read it to you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Bates. Harriet and I are going to visit the poor. We will come and listen tomorrow on our usual visit.
Oh, well, good then. Well, till tomorrow.
That was a very lucky escape. I hope I never bore people 1/10 as much about all the little Knightleys as Miss Bates does about Jane Fairfax. I am sick of the very name Jane Fairfax. Every letter must be read 40 times over. She bores me to death. Which is a pity, because Jane, Frank Churchill and I are bound together in a mysterious sort of way. Frank is like a lost boy never to return home.
Not even for his father's wedding.